How's it going, man? Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. If you like the video, I'm coming in because we have talked to YouTube like shown. That's how come my notifications don't go out. Last time I video about the notification about to about 30 to 45 minutes after stuff happens because because all of your YouTube videos become transcripts and people can search the transcripts for certain type of words that kind of piece together and they decide whether or whether or not your actual video should have the notification. Now, this doesn't really apply to upload videos because upload videos are its own thing. But when it comes to all right, there we go. Hold on. Well, all right, I'm back. So that's what goes on. So you gotta realize you don't need to apologize. There's nothing to apologize. You can't say that you can't say that yourself. The only thing that is there's gonna be people who can kamikaze your life, even though you have not had that relationship. Thanks for doing that. But you guys have to realize once these people kamikaze back into your life, the reason why they do so is simply because they're thinking that most of society have weakened to the point to where simply their opinion of what they think about you should matter more than what you think. And I cannot tell you how that is so far from yourself. You have to understand the things that you do for yourself right now is easy. All right, hold on a second. Hold on. All right, there we go. So I keep telling you, man, that a lot of people are looking for you as a come up. They simply are. Now I'm gonna give you this guy's story of what's happening here You're going to be able to see the same thing that's going to happen to your life the moment that you get your stuff together. It's going to be the same. So, a dude grew up in the South. He didn't grow up where I grew up in, but he grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. Grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. He left and went to the Navy. Fresh out of high school. He was 18 when he left. He went to the military. Now, he wasn't stationed overseas like I was. He At first he was stationed overseas. Like his second tour, he was stationed overseas. So he was beginning to tell me about what happened the moment that he had a position where he actually came close to separating. It's gonna rub man. Once he got a tangible position that provided him tangible benefits, the place where he actually was born at, the place that he was actually where he learned everything. And this guy didn't have a two-parent household. He immediately noticed something was different about him the moment that he got to the productivity. The moment he got to the productivity piece, the people start coming in, trying to take his new level of newfound self-esteem away from him. Now, this person did not understand or even know what was happening. But what you have to recognize is they come in with the emotional piece because they have no other means to fight you with. This is why once you get your stuff together, you're not supposed to try to rescue past ills of your previous life. Because they know if they try to sucker you into doing those type of things, you're not going to do anything but try to ruin and destroy your life all the way. And he went through the same thing that most people go through when they are barely productive within the environment itself. Remember, if you're not overseas, you come into the military, you don't have, I'm gonna use words here, COLA, which is the cost of living allowance, or BAH, or any type of housing allowance. You're going to be pretty poor living in these dorms. What's going on, Brandon Beck? You're going to be pretty poor living in these dorms. But you have to understand that the military is set up so that way random women can attach themselves to your life and be able to get a check for the rest of their life, to include live on base for free. And he noticed and he recognized this because he was an MP in the Army. I mean, not Army, Navy. It's Shore Patrol. I'm sorry. It's no, you get the SPs mixed up because when I went in, it was SP for security police, and him SP means Shore Patrol for the Navy. Right now in the Air Force, we consider SF, which is Security Forces. I think they're still considered Security Patrol for the actual Navy. So he said that one, because he was 18 years old and he was stationed stateside. So he learned very quickly, not through relationships, but through everybody who he had to arrest, every court martial that he had to attend, watching these people go to jail for tons of years, that those people got into these relationships the moment that they got productive. They were nested upon by an actual good enough Keisha within the environment. Most of the time, they were introduced to this good enough Keisha by other men within the environment who actually had relations with this person in the past, but they just wanted a new person who didn't have any experience to take over this person's stead. I keep telling you guys that if guys are not talking about progress and the future and getting to the money, they're trying to leverage the past to escort you into their past ills so that way they could be ahead of you because they are better failures than you are and they've been going through the exact same failures you have been. So they are better than you at this failure. But you have to realize is that the moment that you start getting chances that they think that your ass is not worth, they're actually going to come after you for having those chances and choices. They're going to come after you for having a different framework and a frame of mind. They're going to come after you. They're going to come after you because you made it to a place that you was never supposed to be at, which was outside of their control. So this is why most of these older individuals send the women in, the wrong type, by the way, as advanced agents to destroy your actual progress. You have to understand that you're supposed to have self-worth issues within this environment based on how things are set up. But what you're not supposed to do is the moment that you have a little worth, you're not supposed to set yourself up and bend a complete lick for the people who don't give a damn about you in the first place. And never have. So being a guy from the South, being a guy who got escorted into better options once he went to basic training and whatnot, he had the same outcomes that I did. Once he went to a better situation, he started to realize that it was not the starting point. It was the people at the starting point. I keep telling you this. Those people within those circumstances are trying to maintain those circumstances. They're not dumb. They're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. Because the point is that you were never meant to move on to better circumstances until your productivity was quartered or was halved or even decimated by somebody from the previous environment. They understand how much behind that you're going to be put by dealing with certain people. Now, as an individual raised in that type of environment, you're not going to be able to get access to men like me until you get locked up, until you do something horrifically wrong, or like this guy, he went into the military and he got around better people. Quick. So what you guys have got to understand is everybody is dependent, fully dependent on your failure. Now I used to think that this was a black man thing, but it wasn't. Through marriage, I had access to Latinos, Native Americans, and whites through marriage. And their uncles, who was the same age as my father, was teaching their kids the same exact failure protocol. You're not a man until you can master this particular uncultured person within this environment. You're not a man until you can do that. And somehow you're less manly than everybody else the moment you disregard this particular system and move to something else. I told this guy the moment I went to another culture where women actually gave a damn about what men think and all that kind of other stuff, I was out. That's what it was. I didn't try to come back and do things very different. Yeah, McKinley, I could very much relate. Southwest Georgia, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that region. Yes, very much so. But the actual experience is the same. The experience is the same. They know you don't have any experience. And then they try to make you look like you're somehow less of a man that you want to actually be with and be around individuals who treat you appropriately to your actual station. They try to make you feel like you're less than a human being by doing so. I keep telling you, like when he went in, he kept telling me that he had most of the game programming inside of his head. So he was operating on protecting the actual community and never give a damn about it. A lot of people are actually downloaded with this bad programming from the first beginning. That's the problem. They have been in this environment so long that they've had access to this programming for so long that whenever they go to good circumstances, they don't even realize that things are better because they try to circle around the new environment and try to make the new environment the old environment. So this is what the letter of a kind of apology was about. I'm like, bro, you have nothing to apologize for. I know what it's like. Yeah, these dudes tried to put fat bitches on me at 14 and 15 years old. There was a dude who actually went with one of those women, fucked his whole life up. That dude is just now able to go out and explore like he's an 18 or 19-year old, and he's damn near 40. Why? The older individuals put these older ass women on these young ass dudes. So that way the young dude can be able to take over for his responsibilities, and there's no other man around to tell him otherwise. This is why I don't trust game dudes. This is why I don't trust any of these dudes who try to make it look like respect through community woman is how you get to your actual success as a man. It is a bad deal that people are dealt. And they're dealt this deal because they are so far at the bottom that it's easily to be nested up on and to be used by these women while your ass is at the bottom and you don't have any power. Once you have the power to say no, once you have the power to move on to better things, they're going to hate you for it. They're going to hate you for it. And I told this individual that, dude, it is very common for disloyal people to require loyalty out of others. All right, that's what's up, man. It sounds like you on your own stuff there, Jaquan. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks for the sign. I'm super chat. What's going on, Doug? What's going on, Matt Culture? What's going on, D1? Oh. So that's what I'm saying. As you can see after the flagging of my video, how there's 75 people in here now, when there wasn't but 15 when we started the live stream. That's what I'm talking about people flagging my video at the first beginning and really realizing that what I'm actually saying isn't what they're actually flagging my video for. Boss Don Donna. Those are stone cold facts. Listening to you want to speak. Yeah. So I'm just saying this. You guys have got to understand that if these people are not talking about how to get to the money, they literally are trying to feed you into their past, man. They are literally trying to feed you into their past, man. Literally. There's nothing more important right now than getting your stuff together. I realized it at 17. This dude realized it at 18. And when he went into these newer environments, he was trying to bring the hood with him. When it took a while for him to get rid of this bad program. Because once you're in a society full of men and things, you have to be held responsible for everything that you do, and the least little things that you get wrong, you can get 50 to 100 to 800 people in trouble for it. You're going to really change your ways very fast. And those people are going to get your ass up to speed very quickly on how to act. This is what I'm saying. Like a lot of people come around to my term of thinking, which is actually conservative, very later on. Like you have to know where you are. You have to know where you came from. You have to know the history of your people. You have to know the history of where you're trying to go. And you have to understand that all skin folk ain't kin folk. Period. 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 So what you guys have got to understand is that you have more people who are not on your side than actually are on your side. And the people who are not on your side, they're not in your face like that. They're pushing methods and actual things that don't need to be pushed right. That's why you have to truly understand that the only thing you have to do is live a better life and have a better outcome. Because it also came into telling this individual, because he asked me, because he wanted a better start. He wanted a better start. I'm like, bro, listen, there is no better start than being at the bottom. What's going on, Governor Death Star? Damn, I ain't seen your ass in a couple of years. What's going on, man? So I'm like, look. So he was like, so how did you make it out the Mississippi Delta? How were you able to recover from the fact that your dad, granddad, grandmother, the whole focus of the family died at an early age? What were you handed down to make sure that your life did not end up like those people's lives? I'm like, bro, listen, they handed me nothing tangibly from what other people think, but they did hand down something that was more important than money. They handed down perspective. They handed down perspective. They handed down their failures. They handed down a better foundation. And I'm saying that you can get the best out of life without even having this foundation. But I had it through various teachings and the actual men that came in contact to. But that's what we were. I did. I did respond. It's in the inbox, so I'll get you that. So that's where we are, man. You have to realize that at some point, it's not the circumstances around you. At another point, it is you're complaining about the actual lack of opportunities that you actually engaged in yourself, and you're trying to blame everybody else. Because if you're not focused on the tangible things that you need to be doing within your own life, your focus actually on the failures of had people ending their own life on the other hand. That's where you are. And there's nothing wrong or even bad about noticing that you're in a bad position. I had to notice that I was in a bad position before I had to change that. The first thing I had to change is how I got where I was. To be very honest about how my family got where they was. I had to be very honest about what both sides of my family did during the time that they was in the South and how did they end up in the South. And I have to go back 150 years and see how these people actually ended up where they ended up. I had to ask all of my aunts, all of them, about how they did things. Had to ask my uncles, it wasn't but a couple of them, about how they did things. What things did they seen in their life? Why did they make it as far as they actually made it? And what the actual failures were. Most times when I ask these questions, They will be looking at me crazy because these were questions that their own sons and daughters didn't ask. Their own sons and daughters never asked these questions, even though they was raised under the best of circumstances. So I had to tell this individual, dude, you could be given a great start and you could still be far behind anyone else. You could definitely be given a great start and be behind everybody. I gave him examples of people who were, what's going on, Roger Spike? I told this dude about the Columbine shooters, Klebold and Harris, about how these dudes was driving around with BMWs and shit ever since they was in junior high school, even though they was in high school. There was absolutely no reason for them to go on doing that shooting rampage at Columbine High School because they had a far better life than most people would actually believe. But because they wasn't accepted at what they think was the top, they thought that they should sabotage and destroy the entire system. That's what these people actually thought. Even though their parents worked for the military industrial complex, these people had hella dough coming in. But at the end of the day, they thought that they still wanted the respect of shit from these people that they clearly didn't get. This is what I'm telling people about. Be handed a good start. Being handed a good start isn't going to help you. It's not going to help you. Like fighting less for things that you would never work for your own, that's not going to help you. So I'm seeking my creator. That's not going to help you. If you don't know the actual work that it took to put in to have these actual things, it's going to harm and it's going to destroy you eventually. Think about the people, well, I can think about them because it happened during my time. People who I was in elementary school with in the 80s and in high school with in the 90s who end up getting life sentences trying to fit in with hood dudes. They got life sentences for committing petty ass crime. There is a woman from my high school that there is a very documentary about. I think it's about 5 documentaries about her. About how she got into the trouble that she got into by killing an actual dude that she was dating. And about how this family spent all this money trying to get her ass out of trouble that she clearly shouldn't have been into. She was given a very good start. Both parents was educators. Never wanted for anything in the world. And this was a fine ass woman. So there was no reason for her to want for anything in life. But then again, she was given this great ass start and it didn't mean shit to her. Why? The good start thought that she can have far more than she wanted. So that's what I'm saying, bro. There's no reason for that. Like, bro, at some point, this shit is not the previous generation's fault. All this shit you blame boomers for, we're doing far worse with this goddamn YouTube shit. We're doing far worse with the opportunity that we have to even have our voice. Even though they never had a voice back then, unless you was big ninja in the corner saying something slick and smooth on an actual live, on an actual screen or worse. You guys have got to understand that most of these people are here to make sure that you stay within these positions. They don't want you moving on to better things. If you're moving on to better things, then you don't need their help anymore. That's why it's more important for non-productive people to meet rather than productive people to consistently provide substance. Productive people don't need to meet. Productive people can stand on their own with their own track record. Non-productive people need to meet. Non-productive people need to say, we're meeting here, we meet at this location. We don't talk about shit online, but we're gonna turn around and try to make it look like we're gonna talk about some substantial shit once we meet in a certain city, like Atlanta or Houston, liberal cities, but you so conservative though. This is what I'm saying. Like if you not on real shit when your ass is online, you're not gonna be on real shit once you meet in person. Trust me, shit is not gonna get better for you. Watching other failed men win is not gonna make shit better for you. Investing in somebody else's idea is not gonna make shit better for you personally as a person. I understand that you want to follow bitch ass niggas because that's where you are at the bottom, so that way you want to see somebody succeed, but that's not gonna help you overall. It's gonna help that specific person, it's not gonna help you. What could have been in this space was destroyed by most of the people that are in Black America today. And it's not just Black America, it's no substance America. Everywhere. It's the same shit. They rather get behind a person that requires nothing than a person that requires some type of substance. And you got to realize that this shit is going to be your fault eventually. Not what you was handed down, but it's going to be your fault eventually. The moment that you repeat the failures of the past. The failures of the past, that's fine. That's their shit. Being socialized into it is fine. That's kind of your shit. But the moment that you start repeating those people's failures and thinking that you're successful at repeating those failures, that's when it becomes your fault. It's called this. That's when it becomes your fault. Not because of those older individuals who may or may not know better and got the results of it. It is your fault because you knew better and you didn't do shit about it. You have way more advanced information than those older people have. Far more. That's what I'm saying, Derek McKinley. Like most of my family members who had two-parent households, I'm talking about one nurse, one union member, or one nurse, or one military retiree, or one military retiree, and another person a union member. Those are all the people that flushed all that shit down the drain. In my family, that's what happened. Those people have an amazing start. They could have took over the family business, whatever the uncle or aunt shit was at that particular point in time. Whether it's a beer distributor or where it is a mechanics chain, any of that shit. They could have took over as a supervisor of that shit. But they still decided that, look, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to be part of this hood shit. It's called stealing the pole. But that's the way it is. So now you have to understand that that good start that was given to people in previous generations, you can have the same start right now with access to the right means of knowing how to do things effectively. Because the people who's trying to keep the past alive, they're not trying to keep the past alive because it was great for them. They never even lived that life in the past. Most of this experience is stolen valor at this point. You know, stolen valor, a person who shows up to a military function with all type of medals and ribbons and shit on his chest. Can't nobody verify what actual branch of the military that they was in or the time period that they was in for. Medals not even being displayed properly. People questioning them on how could a person who's 20 something year old have Vietnam ribbons on. That's what this shit is. Strong, no excuse. Strong. But that's what we are. That's what we are. But there's nothing to apologize about, dude. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to yourself that you ain't where you need to be at, man. Bro, you ain't never got to apologize to me about shit. That you noticed some shit. I had to notice some shit. After I left, I had to notice a whole bunch of things was wrong. That were the problem. Mainly me, not the situation. And this is where luck can really mess people up at. Luck can keep your ass alive for a period of time, but luck can also serve as a means of your own destruction. If you go from one lucky ass situation to another, to another, to another, and this stuff was never meant to work, what happens when you run into a situation where luck isn't going to work? What happens when luck isn't going to work at this point? The fact that you didn't consistently have your shit together. How's luck going to fix that? But luck can keep you safe. It also can ruin your life. That's what I'm saying. You know, that's what I'm saying, and most people don't understand that. But when you succeed by lightning, you keep expecting it to actually keep striking in the same place. And what happens when it don't? What happens when you don't have the means to feed yourself, to actually have the connection that you should have actually built during that time? All that stuff. I keep telling people intelligence is nothing. Very high IQ I have, but IQ doesn't mean anything when it comes to working with the right people, building relationships, pursuing the right craft, getting out of the wrong craft at a specific period of time. IQ ain't gonna help you with none of that shit. IQ don't determine outcome. Your ability to actually solve problems within the environment is going to be the outcome level that you're actually going to be on. But see, they don't teach you anything like that because your efforts are going to be able to serve their cause. And if you are a parasite, you don't care about the host. You don't care how the host come about. You just care that the host is eventually going to be there for your benefit. They had one of the highest IQ dudes working as a dishwasher in some restaurant. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why highlight that dude if he had a high IQ? If he's out doing stupid shit. But this is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these people think that the only way to make it within this society is simply having the goodwill of the actual mass. When the goodwill of the masses, like, most of these people are not invested in your actual overall success. Like, they don't care about that kind of shit. A high IQ isn't going to teach you how to build political association or learn how to work with other people. It's not going to help you with those type. How many times have you seen the highest performing dude in sports not really do shit outside of sports once the sport is over? I know people who were the shit in high school. They went to Jackson State or Mississippi Valley State, and that was the height of their actual productivity. The moment that they graduated with a bullshit degree, they could not survive in this society. Why? They were too used to having an ass kiss as long as they ran up and down the field at a certain specific speed, or ran into somebody on some specific sort of play, or shot some jump shot at some specific time and didn't end up in the NFL or the NBA, they're the people who are still walking around with the Letterman's jersey on right now. when it comes to these functions for class activities. They want you to be reminded of the person who they were. They do not want to be reminded of the people who surpassed them, and quite easily. This is why it's vitally important to know what these things are within the society. And know that these people who you seek to be around have to be on the same page as you. They have to be just as invested as you are. Because if they're not as invested as you are within the specific result that you're trying to reach, they are literally useless. Rather than just saying that they are useless, they would try to dress themselves up as if they are far more than what they actually are. But these are the things that you actually have to talk about. These are the things you actually have to be about. Because it's going to be super easy to be on nonsense. It's going to be super easy to be there. It's going to be super easy to try to exploit the actual gender war. It's super easy to do that. It's super easy to give out BS information and not be responsible for it. It's super easy to be that too. But at some point, you're going to have to recognize that this stuff is your responsibility to fix in your time, not anybody else's responsibility to hand you down a better system. You got to stop looking up to these older individuals to try to help you out with shit that's inherently your responsibility. Most of these older individuals, when you talk to them, they're trying to make themselves look like they are a bigger and better person than you are. It doesn't matter if they're giving out obsolete information. I was given obsolete information before I was told to go to the military and get the hell out of the Mississippi Delta. There were people there within that circumstance who was giving me obsolete information and they didn't feel bad about it. Because giving me obsolete information mean that they were showing up their actual process within the environment itself. They knew full well that the information that they gave did not give people who are far better than them in the class that they graduated from the position that they had. Most people are just going to give you enough information to get kind of where they are, but not exactly where they are. And then you don't know it until 2 or 3 years down the road, your luck runs out when you're seeing people who was in the books doing all the things that they were supposed to, and you wasn't. They had a place to go, and you was dependent on luck. They had a definite end goal in mind, and the only thing you had in mind was, well, I don't know why those people working so hard. I'm here. I have enough money, more money than these people got. Yeah, tortoise in the hare. How many times have we heard that story? The hare got out way front, and then it got beat by the tortoise at the end. That's the actual difference between an actual a set plan for a set result and trying to exploit some type of hustle. Again, these people who don't have any substance, they're always going to be out front. They're always going to be. They're always going to be out front. So let's get back to this guy. He went from being stationed in the stateside, which is called CONUS, continental United States, and then he went to overseas. He had an overseas station. he realized how immediately that he was never really set up for feminine women. He was set up to treat every woman like a hoe. So when this dude actually came across actual decent women, he didn't code switch from being around hoes to being around somebody decent who they could just move on to. No, he tried all that whole shit on her. And her ass wasn't around after a while. So the only thing he could qualify for was hoes. Next thing you know, he had a kid very early by somebody that he clearly should not have had a kid by. This person knew his situation inside and out. This person was able to get a pink card, ID card. She was able to live anywhere within the country on a military installation. She was not only be able to get housing on any military installation. She was able to go to school for free. She was able to do all this shit because she picked the right type of sucker in the wrong type of circumstance. And that's what happens when you are raised by these people. It's called discontentment $10 super chat. You know how many people who are military veterans who are going through shit just like this? Had a kid with the wrong person under the wrong circumstances. Now they have to serve a 20-year life sentence on acting like that they got these women under control. They have to pretend like they know everything about female nature. But when you ask them what is your results of female nature, oh well, you know what? I just got a kid and I ain't got custody of. The fuck out of here. What do you mean? That you know all this game and yet you still being picked apart by the same woman that you think that you running. All this stuff to overcompensate for the fact that you made a mistake and you can't own up to it. You try uncultured things on a person with well advanced knowledge and you lost. Rather than claiming that he actually did lose, he was out here trying to escort more and more people off into his same circumstance. Just like most of these people within the manosphere are doing the same shit. They're only discussing politics because a black woman is involved. They're not discussing politics because there's male progress involved. You could just look at their actual track records and their actual live streams. They ain't got shit on that. And they never have. This is what I mean by, bro, you got to be able to get this shit solved for yourself in your own time. Because I'm not going to be here forever. And this advanced knowledge that you have on how this shit is going to end is not always going to be there for you. There's going to be more and more people who's going to take advantage of the simple fact that you just want to maintain your current position without any interaction of making any type of changes within your environment. This is what these people depend on. This is what these people depend on. They depend on you not knowing, not researching, not learning, not caring. This is where we at. But you got to realize that you're better than these people's outcomes who are trying to teach you how to work. You're way better than that. You're way better than that. You're way better than that with not having any experience. That's why I tried to get this dude to understand. Like, bro, you have way better and way further than most people within this environment who are stuck without any experience with what these people think is good right now. You're way better than that. And these people are here to sabotage the actual future. They want you to invest in the inverted pyramid, which means They're at the top, and every single subclass of people and generation that they create beyond beneath them is going to be worse off than they are while they're at the top. So being at the top means maintaining the bottom floor, or even worse of a bottom floor. That's currently where we're at. It doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to talk about women. It doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to gaslight women. It doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to claim that your ass is going to go travel somewhere because you want to be with different types of people and just end up not doing that shit. It doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to do that. But it does take a lot of intelligence to put yourself in a different situation, to maintain yourself in that entire situation, to have a job in that specific situation, to be able to live overseas in that entire situation. There's really no live streams on that. You want to know why? That shit is pie in the sky. They ain't trying to hear that shit. They're trying to go over there, have a party, walk away with something that's great, and that's it. You got to realize, man, there's more to life than that shit, man. Way more to life than that shit. You really think these individuals are going to give you the keys to your own castle when they don't have the keys to their own castle? They're never going to do that. They're never going to do that. They're going to give you keys to their own stagnation, their own dysfunction, and their own failure without telling you this is the door to that opens. Go on, Sky. But that's kind of where we at. You have to realize how easy this shit is now. Most of these jobs have on-the-job training at this point. Most of these people have internships at this point. Remember, after the pandemic, a lot of people came up, but then there was a lot of jobs that didn't get staffed. And wages went way up after the pandemic. Way up for workers. People were getting paid anywhere from $8 to $15 more an hour for a job for the same job that they had previously had during the pandemic. Why? They could have always paid those wages. They just chose not to. The people who are losing are going to be the people who are complaining, folks. The people who didn't do the stuff properly and correctly within their own life are going to be the people who are complaining. Those are going to be the people. Those are going to be the people who's going to continuously act like experts, but they don't want to be debated by nobody. They only want to build a cult of personality behind the scenes because they don't want to solve any problems. People who want to solve problems, they can easily debate their ideas and issues. They can easily take on other people's talking points as long as they make sense. But the people who do not want to do that, they can only talk from behind the scenes. They can only try to set people at each other's throats. They're the only people who try to manipulate people's feelings for one reason or another. And that's where these things are at. You can't say that a woman is your biggest obstacle for you completing your own responsibility for things. That's incredibly stupid. For you to actually say that a woman not being loyal to you and your inability to replace her is the reason why your ass is behind. You sound dumb as shit when you do that. You're waiting on a planet that have 4 billion fucking women, but you want to limit yourself to a subsegment of one other type of woman. to in order to correct your own life. Like, bro, that's not nobody else's fault but your own. People who actually want to do great shit, you know what they do? They go where the actual thing is. I know. I know it. You got home health aides making $25 an hour in Mississippi. I know these people are getting paid. But it's almost like the more opportunity that shows up, the more upset people get at immigrants by coming here and taking advantage of the same opportunity. Immigrants aren't the reason why your ass is not succeeding. Immigrants are the reason why your ass is failing. Because they're showing you by just showing up and getting these actual jobs and shit that you refuse to do. This is how come they winning over you. But rather than trying to address the actual issue of your ass personally failing, you just want to blame non-English speaking motherfuckers when they get here. That's some bullshit. Oh, all right. Yeah, I think. But that stuff is also a choice too. Where you want to live and where you want to work. But you gotta have the skills to do one or the other. But a lot of these people, they don't want to do any of that stuff. They just want to hand it to them. And then they want to betray the person who actually handed it to them at all. Here. You have to recognize, once people are talking, you have to be able to like, okay, where does this lead to? Where are you trying to lead these people to? Are you trying to lead these people to some type of success model? Or are you trying to lead these people to some type of guaranteed failure statistic that you know is failure? Again, none of us had a great start, but everybody can have a great end. Everybody can have a great end at this. My grandfather couldn't, my father definitely couldn't. But in this generation right here and now, if your ass is below the age of like 50 years old, bro, there ain't no reason why you can't cross train, get into an actual position, and work your ass your way into some other stuff. It's your fault. The people who are complaining about losing, it's their fucking fault. Ask them why you still complaining about women if they ain't at the table. They ain't at the table because you ain't got shit that they want. People come to the table when you got something that they want. That's how negotiations work. Negotiations work when you got something that they want and you got something that they want. But what happens when you show up to a negotiating table and you have nothing but the fact that you want the benefit off of everybody else's work? Then you don't have anything to bargain with. And you're probably a threat to the entire group that you actually represented them. Because people without substance were never meant to have a voice. All this dude bro bullshit online and preying on weak ass fucking children who's never had a father within their fucking life. So you say a whole bunch of woke ass bullshit. That's not good, man. That's what I'm saying, Eric Bird. But they blame him for being here. They blame him for being here. They blame him for competing. Not them because they didn't make the most of their environment. Pay attention to the people who are fucking losing. They're losing for a very specific reason. You don't have to apologize for anybody. You are only responsible for yourself and your ass being there. Once you get to the top of this shit, you're gonna be the only person up there. You gotta realize that you gotta leave so many more people behind. The moment you start getting your shit together, then it's gonna seem boring to you, it's gonna seem different to you, it's gonna seem lonely to you. But you gotta embrace that loneliness at the fucking time. You gotta embrace that loneliness at the top, man. However, most of these individuals don't even want you to think or even look at things that way. Why? That exits them out of the conversation with those people. They don't want to hear that shit. They want to hear that you're going to treat them better than you treated everybody else. That's what it is. That's why you got so many young OGs out here. Younger dudes who are fighting older people's battles to the point to where the actual youth don't even seem like they're even young anymore. They seem like old ass men because they're fighting everybody else's battle and they haven't even got started on their own path yet. Why are they trying to fight everybody else's battle but theirs? Those people, they had their chance. They had their chance and they failed. So now you have to sit your ass down and let other people run this shit. But a lot of people don't want to give up on the fact that they failed. So the only thing they can do is escort them to a person that's gonna mess their whole life up. So, but that's where most of the voices are at. Most of the voices are at the bottom. Most of the voices are at the bottom. They're trying to celebrate the bottom. They're trying to make the bottom and being seen and being on camera being the shit. Like if you got tangibles in real fucking life, bro, you don't need to be on camera, bro. But they want to get to you through the emotional spectrum by not providing substance. This stuff isn't really that hard to get. That's why you got to make sure that you are the designated survivor of this whole thing. Stop worrying about what the future looks like. Stop worrying about what the color of your children don't look like. You need to have a functional household at this point. This whole black family shit, people bring that stupid shit up because they're trying to get you to marry whores. They get you to try to land a plane that's on fire with no wings. That's what they own. Because it's the only way that they can have a voice within the society is that you connect yourself to broken people. Because that way you'll never have shit figured out. For the dude who emailed me who this live stream was actually based on, you have nothing to apologize to me about. Everybody nearly has the same outcome because that's what you were socializing. Now that you know better than not to do any of this shit that people were preaching or actually saying, it's your responsibility to turn this stuff around. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, you have to become that. You have to leave all this stuff alone. You have to be able to look at more stuff that actually. You have to. Because if you engage in more of it, you become trapped like most of these other people do. You have to understand, man, it's not too many people that want progress. It's really not. So I want to thank you guys for coming through. And tomorrow, make sure you share this video for some people who can be affected by it. You guys are